Hello, Flosstube. It's Erin, the hiking stitcher, and today I'm coming at you with my September update. I believe it is Flosstube number 8. So today I wanted to recap everything that happened in the month of September, and there is a lot. So I've got some life updates, mostly trip updates, some haul, a couple finishes, and a lot of whips. And also at the end, I want to just give a plug to some of the hiking community because I am the hiking stitcher. So let's jump into it, shall we? So this month, I finally got to cross an item off my bucket list. So Jim and I flew over to London for a week. So we spent a day in Boston. We took the train up to Boston, spent a day there, and then we flew overnight to Heathrow from Boston. And I just immediately fell in love with the country. So on Sunday, we went around Hyde Park. We got to go to Kensington Palace and see if William and Kate were home, but they weren't. They didn't answer the door. And then we ended up on a bus tour, just taking us around before we went down to Richmond, which for those of you who are Ted Lasso fans, understand why Richmond is so amazing. So that's where we went for Sunday roast for dinner and just wandered around and just marveled at the fact that I finally left North America. So then on Monday, we got up and we took the train out to Leavesden Studios to go see the Harry Potter studio. And that was absolutely amazing. We got to see all of the sets. We got to see some of the behind the scenes, how they made the movie happen, so to speak. And we could have spent all day there. In fact, we did spend all day there. And then on Tuesday, we just wandered around and did different things. I believe Tuesday was our royalty thing. Yes. I'm completely blanking out on everything we've done because we just did so much. But throughout the week, so we did everything. We did Westminster Abbey. We did the Tower of London. We did the Tower Bridge. I got to walk up to Buckingham Palace. We got to walk around Trafalgar Square. I even got to dump tea into the Thames because in Boston, we went to where the Boston Tea Party happened. And so I took some tea from Boston, brought it all the way over to England, and dumped it in the Thames just because I could. So then on Friday, we took the train down to Southampton, and we spent Saturday going around Southampton and seeing the history of the Spitfire factory from World War II and the Titanic exhibit because that's where Titanic came from. And some people thought I was crazy going to see the Titanic exhibit the day before I got on a boat, but obviously I'm fine. So then on Sunday, we got to get onto the Queen Mary 2. And the Queen Mary 2 is the world's only true ocean liner. So its main job is to go back and forth between New York City and Southampton, England, and it does other short trips as well, but it is the only boat out there that's built to be an ocean liner. So that was another bucket list item. And so we spent a week on that. I had a blast. All the food you could want, great entertainment, and a lot of stitching happened. So on the boat, and I promised you guys I'd tell you, every day there was a hobby hour. And well, I quickly found a couple people. So shout out to Nancy and to Jean and to Jean. We met up early on and we pretty much spent most of the day in the same corner. Nancy is working on the Heaven and Earth design stitch along. And so I'll insert a picture here of what she was working on. And it is amazing. And then Jean and Jean were just doing some knitting. And then people would come in and out all day. Some cross stitchers, some knitters, some crocheters. And just it was a great way to just meet people. I mean, I got to chat with people on the boat from all over America, from France, England, Scotland, Sweden, just all across the world. And that was so much fun to just get to talk to people all around and even meet other stitchers just literally from around the world. And I didn't get a chance to check to get everybody's information, but and I didn't really get any videos other than Nancy's amazing looking project because it's amazing. But I did get some stitching done. So let me show you. So I'm kind of going to switch my order here. I want to show you guys my whips, or my London whip. So let me pull out the pile because I have so many things in different piles here. So here it is. So at Camp Black Needle, my friend Amanda was giving away this pattern, Satsuma Street's Pretty Little London. So of course I took it, and I said, I'm going to take this and I'm going to start it on the train up to Boston, and with the goal of finishing it before I got home. Well, lo and behold, when you're spending most of the day out and about exploring London, you don't get as much stitching done. So I didn't finish it, but I did get 70% done on this. So this is where I came home with on Pretty Little London. So the only thing I have left to do is to finish the boats down here, and there's a couple of taxis, but this is the vast majority of it. And people came up to me on the boat going, oh, I know where that is. Can you tell me more about this pattern? And it was just a great conversation starter. So I did get to see all of the sites in this. So here is, let me make sure so this is the Shard. This is the tallest building in England. This is the Gherkin. And there is the Ferris wheel. Blanking out in this one, of course, you've got Tower Bridge here, and the Elizabeth Tower with Big Ben, and I believe that's Westminster Abbey. And then I have the little guards in so far. So this is a fun stitch. I'm going to put it away for a little bit just to get caught up on my other whips. But 70% on in 2 weeks, not bad at all. And I got to stitch this in Boston. I stitched on this on the boat. And this was the first piece I've ever stitched outside of the country. So that right there makes that very special. So that was my stitching during that. I also got some haul while I was over there. So let me go over what I found. Dig out my pile of stuff here. So every gift shop I went to, I looked for cross stitch, and I got lucky at the Westminster Abbey shop. And they had a wall of cross stitch patterns, and I had to pace myself. It may look like I bought everything, but I didn't. I picked out the ones that I'd seen or that meant the most to me, and these are all smalls. So, and they're all kits too. So the first kit is Streets of London. So on there you have Park Lane and Piccadilly and the Marble Arch on Regent Street. And then you have the Mall in Kensington High Street with the taxi, with the mailbox, and with the double-decker bus. And so these are all from a company called Textile Heritage, made in Scotland, and they come with all of the stuff I would need. So I got the bookmark, and then I'm just going to dump it all out here. There is a needle case from the stained glass window representing the stained glass window from Westminster Abbey. And while this comes as a needle case, and it comes with all the materials that you need to finish it off, I haven't decided if I'm going to finish it as a needle case or if I'm going to just finish this as a small on its own. Because as you'll see from the rest of them, my thought process is to eventually stitch them all up and then put them in like little window frames. Because then the rest of them are all the same size here. So then there is a London transport bus, little double-decker bus, and I got to go on quite a few of these actually, and the best place to sit is right up here, the very front on the second deck. That is one of the coolest views. And then I got Big Ben. So that one I got to see in person. And actually the really cool thing is we were sitting there by Big Ben when the clock struck noon. And I swear to God, like it was a busy square. I mean, it's right there, downtown London, Parliament, tourists, locals, just crazy. When the clock started to strike noon, I swear to God, the entire plaza went silent. And people stopped what they were doing and listened to the bells of Big Ben strike noon. That was probably one of the coolest experiences that I was not expecting in London. And then I got Westminster Abbey. which I got to visit and see all the amazing architecture. I got to see the chair in which every single British monarch has been crowned in and for thousands of years. I got to see the graves of so many people. I got to see the grave of Stephen Hawking, Isaac Newton, Queen Elizabeth I, Bloody Mary, Poets Corner. So I got to see all the cool poets. You couldn't go anywhere without stepping on somebody's grave. But it was beautiful on the inside, and I highly, highly recommended doing a tour of Westminster Abbey if you go to London. And then got the crown to represent going to see the crown jewels in the Tower of London. So when you go into the Tower of London, you can go see the crown jewels, where you see all of the crowns that Charles and Camilla wore on their coronation day. The stuff that's gone back hundreds, thousands of years. But everything is under lock and key, and you're not allowed to take pictures. But this is a very accurate representation of one of the crowns. So this is going to represent visiting the crown jewels. And then the last piece I got was the Tower of London. So again, really cool piece of history. This is the White Castle on the inside, not to be confused with White Castle, the restaurant. But you have this tower, the White Tower in the center, surrounded by other walls and other towers and other things. And the Tower of London goes back to, I believe, the year 1066 when William the Conqueror took over. And I know that my 16th or 17th great grandparents were in that royal line. So I mean, I'm 1/1,000,000th royal. But my family lived in the Tower of London back in the 1100s, 1200s, 1300s. And the stories that were there, you got to see where political prisoners were kept, and you got to see the instruments of torture. You got to be in the tower where the young King William and his brother, I think it's King William. Anyhow, the king and his brother, when he became king at age 9, his uncle locked him up in the tower and was never heard from again. So got to see where that happened, and got to see the ravens of the Tower of London, because rumor has it if the monarchy is safe as long as the ravens stay at the Tower of London. So there's ravens there. Again, so much cool history. So I was big on the history stuff in London. My favorite part probably was the Roman walls, because London was originally a Roman city called Londinium, and you can still see elements of the medieval walls that the Romans built during the Roman Empire and then were fortified again during the Middle Ages. So it was really cool to touch architecture and touch things that were literally 1,000 years old. I mean, we think we have old stuff here in America. It got nothing on London. So that was London and the Queen Mary too. So that was my haul from there, and all the stitching I got done. So for Pretty Little London, I think my total was 5,346 stitches, and I got to 70% on that one. So that was productive for me. I could have gotten more, but then I would have had to give up touring, and I really had a good time touring. So that was my life updates and some of my haul. And so I had one more piece of haul in September, and so that was this amazing piece of fabric from Bestitch Me. So this is Night Sky from Bestitch Me, hand dyed, because this is the fabric that the Magic School Bus Stitch Along from the Black Needle Society it calls for. And I mean, let's keep holding it up here. It's so blue. I love it. It's so blue. I love it so much. So I was hoping to be able to take this with me to Europe, but the fabric showed up on my doorstep 5 hours after I left. I kid you not. So hopefully this will be a start sometime next week, because I think they just released part 5 of the Stitch Along and I haven't even started it. So I've got a bit of catching up to do. So that was my only other piece of haul other than all of these cross stitch kits. And so I'm hoping to be able to stitch them all and maybe make one big framed piece on that. So let's see. So then Outside of that, I did get a lot of stitching done overall in September. Not as much as I would have had I not gone to London or on the Queen Mary 2, but honestly, those were worth it. So I did have two finishes. So my first finish was I finally got May done. So this is, let me get some paper here for me to back it up on. This is May from the Black Needle Society. This is National Strawberry Month as part of their Celebrate All Year Stitch Along. So I am now only 5 months behind. So I got May finished. I put 995 stitches in on 2 days to knock this out because I just need to get away from the dark fabric. So, but overall, I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. I do like the colors on the dark fabric, so maybe the dark linen is going to grow on me. I don't know. But so that's May. And then the finish, I busted and busted and busted to get this one done, and I'm so happy it's done. So this is The River by Modern Folk Embroidery. This came in a stitch, my first ever cross-stitching subscription box I got from the Black Needle Society. And so the year that it came out, a lot of people did it as a, can you stitch it in a year? I started it, and it went into timeout quite a bit. But this year I pulled it out, and I said, this is going to be my rainy day project. Every day that it rains, I'm just going to put some stitches in it and see how it goes. So here is where it was at the beginning of September. And here is the finished piece. So this is stitched. I have no idea the fabric. I just ordered it. But this is stitched with the Forbidden Fiber Co. River of Life floss that was in the same box that this pattern was. And the only thing that I did, and I really am glad I did it, was I took the bottom border and I added it to the top, because there was originally charted an alphabet, and I'm like, no, don't like doing random alphabets. So I'm really, really, really happy with how this came out. Of course, this was one of my first pieces that I could have started in the corner. Didn't know about that at the time, so look at my wonderful 6-inch border all around. So this I'm actually going to try to frame myself, because I think it, by the time I fold it down like so, it should fit into 11 by 17 frame, maybe. I'll play with it. But again, so that is The River of Life from Modern Folk Embroidery. And so in the month of September on that one, I put in 2,234 stitches for a finish. And not bad. Now I got to pick another rainy day project. I don't know what I'm going to pick yet, but that's what it is. All right, so let me just go through the rest of my whip pile. There's no particular order, rhyme, or reason other than this is the order in which it's sitting next to me. So I worked on my frogwarts pieces. It's kept in this beautiful project bag that I bought. It's from Stitchy Missy that I bought at Cecilia's in Blue Springs, Missouri. And so this is where I keep all my frogwarts pieces. And I am working on stitching all of the frogwarts pieces from the Black Needle Society on one piece of fabric. So most of the time this gets worked when I pull a card from the card deck that we got in the last frogwarts box. And because my friend Sarah, the Redneck Bifocal Stitcher, said, let's do a countdown to year 6 stitch along. So each week we pull a card, and the card has a prompt on it, and 99% of the time it matches one of the projects on my frogwarts piece, so it gets me a little bit of time. So here is where it was at the beginning of September. I had like half of, I barely started Hedwig. And here I am now. So Hedwig is finished, and I started the Wingardium Leviosa. And I realized that the person, because I wasn't the original one that started this, the person that started this, she started with year 2 to get down to year 3. And then, so she kind of counted down and then decided that she wasn't going to do frogwarts anymore. And so I picked up the piece to finish it. So I only have I have an inch clearance at the top. I don't think it should be too bad, but so there is by progress. So I finished up Hedwig, and I've started the spell. And so with that, I put 379 stitches in, and that got me to 15% done on Frogwarts Year 1. So hopefully we'll see how, there's no timetable on that one. I have to have it finished by a certain date. So I just work on it when I can. So that one only got 379 stitches for the month, but I finished Hedwig, so that makes me very happy. And then another piece I worked on, didn't get as many stitches in there as I wanted to, but this is the New Orleans Saints gnome. So this is from Nenny Design Crafts, and I bought this when I saw somebody had the Green Bay Packers gnome on Instagram, and I think my friend Nancy, the Disorderly Stitcher, got it and started a stitch along. I don't remember the name of the stitch along or the hashtag, but I went and I had to go buy the pattern. And I said, I'm going to stitch it every time I sit and watch a Saints game. So the Saints played when I was in London, but I didn't get to see it, so I didn't stitch on it. I finally got to stitch on it this past Sunday, and so I got to put in 209 stitches. So at the beginning of the month, all I had was his nose done. Not too bad. And so now I have some of the beard done. I have some of his thumb done. So it's a slow progress. There's only one day of stitching in the entire month of September for 209 stitches, and I got 8.6% done total so far. So that'll get a little bit more done because every time the Saints play, if I'm watching the Saints game, I'm stitching on that. Otherwise, it just goes away with the hope that that'll be done by the time the Saints season is over. Hopefully it's the Super Bowl. But that's just, wishful thinking. So that was that one. Another piece that I didn't get a whole lot done on, I think I got one day of stitching in on, but I worked on Live Simply. And this was a kit that I bought at Joann Fabrics a long time ago. And I actually had to call and get the pattern because the kit came with the fabric, kit came with the floss, kit did not come with the pattern. So I had to call Joann, I had to call the company, I got the pattern, and then this was one of my many starts for Stitch Mania this year. So at the beginning of the month, all I had was the phrase, laugh freely, done. And that's how far I'd gotten in May. And so in September, I put in 350 stitches. So I now have all the words done, and I've already started the first heart on the border. And so this is actually going to go faster than I expect, because with this, I put in 350 stitches, and I'm already at 24% done. And so since there's less than 2,000 stitches left on this, I may keep this aside with the goal of just throwing some stitches in as often as I can to get it done faster. So this is, I believe, I call it Live Simply. I've also seen it called Live, Love, Laugh. And I believe if it's not a Dimensions piece, it's a Jan Lynn piece. I don't know, hang on, I can tell you. Maybe. No, because all I have left is the pattern. Oh, here it is. This is why I save everything. Oh, it's not even, it's a Jan Lynn. So this is what it originally looked like. Of course, they said it was a complete kit and they'd forgotten to add the pattern. So that's probably why it was on the clearance rack when I bought it. So 350 stitches were done on that one. And let's see. I'm going to show you my Heaven and Earth design at last because that's what I usually do. And then, as always, I did get some progress in on my 0 to Hero stitch along for Fandom Stitching. So I'm doing both the villains and the heroes. And these are coming. Where's my notes on this one? Don't tell me I lost my notes. No, I didn't. Right here. So both of these patterns are from L Cross Stitch on Etsy. And we're doing that as far as the Fandom Stitching Central Stitch Along. So I've been trying to do a character a week. So alternating. So theoretically, I should have 4 characters done a month, 2 on each piece, which is becoming easier said than done. So first up is the Heroes piece. And so at the beginning of the month, here's where I was. And now at the end of the month, I got 2 new characters put in. I was able to get in this bear, and I got in Bambi. So I'll show you those. So that now puts me at 56% complete. I put in 563 stitches in the month between these two, and I started this piece up here just because I can carry the color. And then this is what it looks like overall right now. Slowly getting there. I don't know if my math has stopped mathing on me, but I have way more characters to get done on this one than I do on my villains piece. Which is fine. I still need to figure out what color I'm going to stitch the little background elements, but at least if I can get a character done a week, I'm happy right now. So then speaking of the villains, at the beginning of the month, I didn't really get a lot done on this one because I didn't take it to Europe. But so here's where I was at the beginning of the month. And here is where I'm at now. So at the beginning of the month, I had I was finishing up this character and I got this little guy in. To me, he looks like a little like disease ball, but I don't know what he really was. But I got those characters in to finish up the ear. And then just yesterday, I finished, it'd be helpful if I could show you. I believe that's Jafar. I got Jafar finished yesterday. And so now I'm down to only 4 characters left to stitch on this one. All down so I've got one next to Jafar and then the bottom row, and then character-wise, the characters will be done. And then again, I need to figure out what color I want to stitch the background elements because right now it's charted in white and I don't think you can see them. I have some in very, very closely, like way up in there, but it's so hard to see that I need to figure out a different color so that way you can see the background elements without overpowering the rest of the stitching. But I'm pretty pleased. I only have 4 left, and they honestly aren't that I can sit and do a character in one sitting. So with that one, so the villains now, that brings me up to 70% done. I'm glad I'll have that one done fast. And then I had a restart. So one of my projects for the month was Ruskin's Penguins by Modern Folk Embroidery. And at the beginning of the month, I had already had 200 some odd stitches in because I started it in May. And after I put in probably 150, 200 stitches in September, I realized I did not like the color of choice of fabric that I picked. It's all black and white stitching, and I did it on a light blue thinking it would represent ice. The black shows up well on it. The white didn't show up at all. And so I hemmed and I hawed, and I finally ripped it out, and I decided to start. So here is what it looked like before I ripped it all out. And then here is the progress that I've made so far. I decided to stitch it on more of a tan fabric where the white will show up more. And I've got this actually on a set of stretcher bars. So this will go in my Lowry stand pretty easily. I don't remember what size stretcher bars I've got. But I started the bottom row again. And I think I got so mad that I had to rip it out. This kind of went into timeout, which sucks because I really do like the pattern. So this will come out again next year, and hopefully I'll have a much better attitude towards it. See, even my Flosstube video is giving me the thumbs up on that one. And then 2 more projects in my pile. All right. So then I finally got a chance to work on my Hogwarts crest. And so this may become my new rainy day piece. I have this on stretcher bars too. And because I'm insane, I decided to stitch this on 14 count. And this was early on as I was learning about different counts and different things. So this project is an online, it was a free online pattern. I think Little Mojo was the designer. I don't remember the website you can get it on anymore. But I started this in 2018, and then I have not put in as much as I wanted to on it. So at the beginning of the month, here's where I was. And now, here's what it looks like. So I got, so first of all, I did some charting changes, so you obviously don't see it, because the background of the Ravenclaw Badger, the chart had it as like a funky, as like a dark, as this dark blue. And I went, no, Ravenclaw's supposed to be yellow. So I'm recharting this in a lighter shade of yellow than the rest of the crest. And I decided to move the dark blue over to Ravenclaw because I didn't really like the shade of blue that they had. So I was able to get in this much of the Ravenclaw background. And then I'm starting to fill in more of the yellow on the bottom. So all of the black is done. I believe this is sitting at about 55-60% done. But as you can see, this is huge. Yeah, this is a 24-inch tall. This is 14 count. And so now it's just a matter of filling in whenever I can. So this is actually going to be another focus piece in October. So for October, I'm hoping to be able to fill in the rest of this, like getting the rest of the bottom finished and getting some of the other colors in too. So this is the Hogwarts crest, a free online pattern from Little Mojo, and I couldn't even tell you the website. If you Google Harry Potter cross stitch free pattern, maybe it'll show up. I don't know. So there's that. And then the final piece that I worked on, as always, I never get enough time on my HAEDs as I want sometimes. So this month, the rotation came up where I'm working on my supersized max color version of A Stitch in Time by Amy Stewart, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And one day I'll do a video because I'm also working on the original version, like regular size, regular color version. So I'll do a comparison video one day, but this finally got pulled up, and this was the only time this year it was going to get called. So if you look here, this is where I started the month. And then, let me get it kind of unfolded here. And so this is where I'm at now. So this month, let me scoot it over a bit. I got the top half of this book done because this goes down to the page break. So I got the pink book done, and I started working over the shelf for the next set. I'm at a whopping 2% on this, and because it is a very slow go, I think I got 2,300 stitches in the whole month because it's a max color and it's super size. So just for reference, let me show you. This is, yeah, so you think I've got a lot done? Oh, no. That's where I'm at. I still have all this way across to go, and then all this way down to go to fill this in. I mean, this is a blanket on me. You know I'm tall. And yeah, so this is a blanket. This is my lifetime stitch, I think. This is let me see if I can finish this piece before I die. But I'm really, really liking how the colors are turning out so far. I'm stitching this one down, only down to a page and then over. Whereas the other one I'm stitching all the way down to the bottom of the shelf and then moving over. Just to kind of keep it straight. So this is where I'm at after 2 years, 3 years, 2 years. I don't know. I just know that when I bought this and started it, everybody thought I was crazy. But crazy's in the eye of the beholder. You know that. So that is all of the stitching progress that I had in September. So I didn't really get any hiking in. But I did want to talk a little bit about hiking. I'm sure you guys have all seen the effects of Hurricane Helene. And it has been personal. I have family in Western North Carolina. I still haven't specifically spoken to them, but I have heard that they are okay. But it's been sad seeing places I visited my childhood. Chimney Rock is gone. Lake Lure is filled with trash. Asheville is pretty bad. Waynesville, Maggie Valley, Cherokee, Canton, Silva. All those like little towns that I've spent, summers of my childhood because that's where my grandparents moved to before they passed. And so that's just been devastating. But also, it has devastated the Appalachian Trail in the area. So the Appalachian Trail runs through Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, and southwestern Virginia. Yeah, see, Flosstube says, yeah, sad. We don't like hearing about floods. Um, but essentially, the flooding from Helene has taken out entire towns. And some of these small towns, like Damascus, Irwin, Tennessee, Roan Mountain, Tennessee, Hot Springs, North Carolina. I said Damascus, Virginia. But those are essentially trail towns for the Appalachian Trail, and they're small towns whose livelihoods pretty much depend upon the flow of hikers coming through hiking the Appalachian Trail or just coming to enjoy the other amenities in the area. Well, the trail has been washed out in some spots. Some of the hostels have been gone. So I'm going to do some research and drop some links below for if you are interested in donating some money to the relief there. The news media seems to be focusing a lot on Asheville, which makes sense because it's the largest city in the area. But everything else, if you don't have family or you don't have a personal connection to the area like I do, you may not always realize it. So I'm going to put down some places where you can donate that will specifically help people in these trail towns or in the towns where my family is affected, if you do feel so led. I would personally not donate to the Red Cross, not because the Red Cross isn't a bad organization, but because it's so huge. There's no way to guarantee that the money that you are giving is going to the people who need it right now. Whereas with some of these organizations or GoFundMe, it's literally going into the pockets of people who are on the ground right now helping. So I will drop that down below. And I'm hoping to get back out on the trail. It's been rainy and cruddy here in Virginia, and so I haven't been out hiking. So probably sometime next week I'll go check out my trail and just see what the conditions are like. But I haven't really been hiking since like the beginning of August. It's weird because I'm the hiking stitcher and I haven't gone hiking. But anyhow, so coming up for October, I am going to participate in the Great British Cross Stitch Baking Show. So thank you to my friend Jessie Marie for coming up with this idea. For more information, check out her Instagram. And so I've got week 1 done already. So essentially for each contestant, you assign a different project to each contestant on there. And then depending on what happens to that contestant in the show will help you decide what projects you're stitching on for the next week and how many stitches. So like for example, if the contestant who wins Star Baker, that project that you've assigned that name will become your daily 100. So you stitch 100 stitches a day on that project, and for the next week. The the baker that gets eliminated, that's 500 stitches for that project. And so that's really fun. If you haven't heard about it, go to Jessie Marie does stuff on Instagram or Flosstube. I do have one planned October start. I am planning on starting Lola Crow's The Haunted Library. It was a stitch along last year, a couple years ago. And I kept eyeballing it, and I finally said, I'm going to get it. So I've got it kitted up. I just need to start it. So I figured that's a good October start. And the other thing I'm looking to do outside of my normal Whip Go stuff for October is something, I think it's called Whip Down. So the way I'm doing it, again, you can do it differently, but the way I'm doing it is if you have any project that has less than 2,000 stitches left on it, those kind of become your focus pieces, and you're just trying to get those down because those are the easy ones that you just sit down and can knock out over a weekend if you can. So I have, I think, 7 projects in that category. So we'll see. But beyond that, I've just got one small trip to take, and then October is just going to be busy with spending time in the mountains here and spending time with family and just enjoying fall in Virginia. So with that, I believe that's everything I have for this month. So if you have any questions or comments, please drop them below. I do read the comments. It makes my heart very happy to know that you are here watching my crazy little thing called stitching, what I do. So I will see you guys on Instagram. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Walking in Stitches. If you like what you've seen here, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button, share with your friends. Let them know that there's another crazy hiking stitcher. Am I the only hiking stitcher that hikes? I don't know. Anyhow, so until we meet again, please never forget, don't let anybody tell you what to do. You just stitch your own stitch. Have a great day.